Welcome home.
Well, it's nice to be back.
Did you ever work anything in Beaumont when you were with HPD?
Beaumont is a spot for a dumping ground and another missing woman
All right.
case. It's so rural, you're so close to the Gulf. If you're going to get rid of a body, this is the right area to
It
do
is
it.
as swampy as hell right on the way to Louisiana. I've asked Abby to join me in my home state of Texas because he's familiar with the area and he knows how to build a murder case when you don't have a body. That's exactly the kind of expertise that we need to investigate a case that I've been interested in since I first heard about it back when I worked at the DA's office. This is the 1999 disappearance of young single mom Kimberly Langwell. Kimberly Langwell was 34 years old. She lived here in Beaumont, had a good job, had a good group of friends. It felt like she was just starting to get her life together again as a single mom. Kim was really pretty with a magnetic personality. She raised her 15-year-old daughter Tiffany on her own. And after recently ending a relationship, she had a new boyfriend and she was excited about the next chapter of her life.
It's a horrible story what the family went through. Kimberly's daughter was supposed to go out to dinner with her on the evening she went missing. And I can't imagine the fear that she went through when she couldn't get in touch with her mom. She paged her 911 and didn't get a response, and she knew something's got to be wrong.
Yeah.
On July 9th, 1999, Kim had made plans to meet her boyfriend and daughter after work, but she never showed. Later that night, her car was located in a drugstore parking lot, but Kim hasn't been seen or heard from since. The problem with a missing person case, especially for the investigator who believes it's a murder, is your main piece of evidence is missing. The body. The body is going to tell you what happened.
And you're always hoping that where the body gets dumped can be your biggest clue, too, to help you figure out who did it.
I know what it's like to go through that missing person case when you know it's not a missing person case. It's a murder where the body just hadn't been found. I've got a lot of those that haunt me still.
I was raised by a single mom, too, just like Tiffany was. And that bond when your mother is your whole world to you growing up, losing that at such a young age, that's got to be really devastating. After 24 years, it's time that we finally bring Tiffany the answers to what happened to her mom. Hello, guys.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Heather. This is Abby.
Hi, I'm Abby.
Heather Wilson.
Nice to meet you, Heather.
Nice to meet you.
This is Tamayo.
Hey, is this
Miss Slager. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I remember in '99 when it happened, because we were working in Houston then. As the years went on, I remember seeing how y'all kept it up there with her picture in the paper and all that kind of stuff. So I was aware of the case.
This is one of our oldest missing persons, and it comes up every few years. The family's never gotten closure, so we're very thankful you're here to help.
In 1999, I was a patrolman, and I remember hearing about the case because everybody was concerned about Kimberly Langwell. This case has been on my mind for quite some time, and it is very important to give the family some answers and ultimately justice.
So what do we know about Kimberly? Did she grow up here in Beaumont?
Yeah, she had lived here most of her adult life. She had a good job at the chemical plant. She was single mom and living with her daughter at the time. Her daughter's name is Tiffany, and she had just gotten out of a long-term relationship and was getting back into the dating scene and getting back on her feet.
I never thought about it until I started working all these cases, how being pretty is a risk factor, right?
Yeah,
You don't
she
think
was
about
very
that.
beautiful. So on Friday, July 9th, 1999, Kimberly had went to work that day. Gets off at 5 p.m. She had dinner arrangements at 6:30 p.m. with her daughter and a new guy that Kim was seeing. His name was Ken Weatherford. She makes a phone call to her daughter about 5:15. She tells Tiffany that she's going to make a stop on her way home to her ex-boyfriend's house. His name is Terry Rose. He was remodeling his home at the time, so she was going to stop by and help him. They were going to hang some boards on the wall. He said that she didn't stay very long, maybe 15 or 20 minutes at the most. However, she never made it home at 6:30, and she actually never made it home at all.
And when do Tiffany and new boyfriend get alarmed?
When she was about an hour late, they had been trying her cell phone at this time. So about 11 p.m., Ken leaves the house and he started circling around just like local bars and shopping areas looking for Kim or her vehicle. So sure enough, he actually finds her vehicle in front of an Eckerd's parking lot. He said it stood out because it was pretty much the only car in that area of the parking lot. So he checked the vehicle. She wasn't in it. He's thinking clearly she made other plans. About 8 a.m., This is now on July 10th. He makes his way back to the parking lot thinking her car should be gone by now. She's gone home. The car is still there. At that point, it was kind of like, something's not right here. So they decided to call the police and report her missing.
When police searched Kim's car, her purse and car keys were missing, though no one believes she would have just run off and left her daughter. We can't rule out the possibility that Kim stopped at the drugstore on her way home and was abducted by an unknown suspect. But the investigation always centered around the known suspects in her world. Her boyfriend, Ken, displayed no red flags and he was cleared, but police were still interested in 2 other suspects.
Okay, y'all want to start with Terry Rose?
Yes.
Terry knew Kimberly because what was their relationship?
They were exes. Back in 1999, Terry owned a record yard.
And he's a tow truck driver.
Right. His tow company is no longer operational, though.
Okay.
So,
how long have they been broken up?
about 6 months. Apparently, Terry had an affair with one of Kim's friends, which prompted the breakup.
How do we want to describe their relationship?
He was infatuated with her, according to everybody. He was obsessed. He was possessive.
They did verbally argue a lot. Terry later admitted to physical abuse.
What's the most he physically abused her?
I think he said a slap.
Slap
He
her.
slapped her
We
in the
know the
face.
slap.
I think there's a significance that the phone that's found in the car is her cell phone that he pays for.
Actually,
And he pays
he
for it.
pays for it.
Despite their tumultuous relationship and breakup, Terry was still trying to keep Kim in his life, routinely giving her money for bills and expenses, including giving her $500 for her trip to Mexico shortly before she disappeared, so he clearly wasn't over her.
Okay, so now let's put Frank McCormick up on the board. What's his relationship with Kimberly?
He worked with Kim. He was one of her supervisors and admittedly had a crush on her. Frank was married at the time. He had what I would even consider like an obsessive crush on her. He would actually write her love letters and exchange them with her at work. She hung on to all these letters. She kind of had this weird vibe about it and thought, if I ever get fired one day, I want to hang on to these. And so she was actually secretly giving these love letters to her best friend at the time, who hung on to them for all these years. And there's a lot of them. And they're pretty creepy.
When y'all did go talk to him back then, remind me of how he acted.
I know in his statement, he just admitted, I have a crush on Kim. She's very attractive.
Yeah, I think it was
We're
I think it was a little downplayed.
Always
for sure.
downplayed. We're friends.
He stands to lose a lot at work and at home over all
Just
this.
reputation.
Frank might have been downplayed his feelings for Kim back then, but these letters sure seem to say otherwise. Is it possible that Frank might have followed Kim that night and then intercepted her after she left Terry's house? We need to figure out how dangerous Frank's obsession really was. Have y'all ever met Tiffany before today?
She's a very pleasant lady. You can tell that she misses her mom dearly.
Me and Tiffany are about the same age, and so I just can't imagine my mom leaving for work one day and just never coming back. I know that just altered her world.
Who raised her after that?
Her aunt Susan, who's Kim's sister. I've met with the family personally, and I love them. They're just such good people.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Hi.
I'm Tiffany.
Nice to meet you, Tiffany.
Nice to meet you. Hi, this is
to meet
Jemaya.
And you see them and you see Kimberly. I mean, her daughter and her sister look just like her. And it really puts things into reality. And it's just unfair. It's unfair to Tiffany. And we just want justice for the family. Well, I guess we can just kind of start with, if you want to just kind of describe and tell me about your mom.
I'm an only child. My mom raised me pretty much by herself. She had a lot of friends and, she was very fun and fun-loving.
What was she like growing up?
A little monster. No, she was a cute kid. She was my tag-along. She was a good sister. She was a young mother. Mom had me when she was 18. Whenever I was real young, she was working, a daytime job, a nighttime job, and then a weekend job, just to make sure that we made it. So she was very strong in that way. She was my world and I was hers. The first few years were absolutely the hardest. Those are the years that you're going through high school, your first dances, driving, and proms and trips. And she wasn't there, and that hurts to love somebody so much and her not being here anymore.
So going to the day of,
You had spoke to her at about 5:13 p.m. She was letting me know that we were going to dinner with Ken. She let me know that she was going to stop by Terry's house on the way home. I remember her saying that she needed to help him with something.
so how often did your mom go around Terry?
I don't know how often, because honestly she wouldn't tell me all the time because she didn't want to hear it from me.
Because you would have told her.
I didn't want him around. I had a huge problem with Terry, and she knew that. He would be forceful with her to let her know that he could be in control. So I was uncomfortable with him.
I would say maybe 3 weeks, maybe after. I went by Terry's house and he said, how do you think I felt when I found out that I gave her $500 and she went with another man to Mexico?
Who did Terry think your mom went on the trip with?
Women from work.
Okay, but definitely not like a couple's trip.
No, not at all.
It seems like Kim told Terry that she was going to go to Mexico with some girlfriends, but it was with her new boyfriend, not with a bunch of girlfriends. And Terry gave her some money for that trip, so he's not very happy when he finds out about Kim going on that trip.
Thank you
Very
so
nice
much.
to meet you. One of the questions that we have is whether or not Terry knew all this the day that Kim last stopped by his house. If we could get the answer to that, that would go a long way in determining if Terry played any part in what happened to Kim when she disappeared that day.
Everybody seems to have good things to say about Ken, so I'm excited to meet him, and hopefully he can have some good insight as well.
At the time of Kimberly Langwell's disappearance back in 1999, her boss, Frank McCormick, and her ex-boyfriend, Terry Rose, were both romantically interested in her.
Are you Ken Weatherford?
She also had a new relationship with Ken Weatherford that was getting serious, to the point that they took a trip to Mexico together. We want to see if Ken knows anything else about the other men in Kim's life at that time.
Well, we worked together. She was up front in the offices. I worked in maintenance down in the field.
So how long were y'all dating up until the time that she disappeared?
I would say 3 months of dating. We took a trip to Cancun together.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, we just got back from Cancun when all this happened. She wore a t-shirt, Cancun on it and all that for Friday. She was something else.
Can you take us back to July 9th of 99?
So when I got there, she never showed. Tiffany was there, so it was just Tiffany and I. And then getting a little worried, we started calling around. Really wasn't unlike her to at least check in with Tiffany.
Right.
And when I got home that night, I sat out on the porch here. Was worried sick. And so with me running around or going by places, I saw her car in the shopping center.
And what did you think at that point?
Was worried.
Yeah.
The reason being it was somebody that she had been involved with that always worried me.
Yeah.
And so,
What's that?
yeah.
Terry?
Terry. I did not know that she was going by his place that afternoon. I found that out later.
What did she tell you directly about him?
That he was a jealous type person.
Okay.
She didn't want to be around him anymore.
Yeah.
She had told me that.
Did you find out later if she was dating anyone else? Romantically?
No. I knew it was her boss, Frank McCormick. He liked her, but he was married.
What do you remember about Frank?
He didn't like me seeing her.
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah. And I come out of her house one night and he was actually on the street parked over there.
Yeah.
Because he saw my truck there.
Well, thanks for your time, sir.
You bet.
Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, y'all take care.
Ken had some concerns about Terry and the stalker-like behavior for Frank. I really felt for Ken. He was a believable guy. He really cared a great deal about Kim. In fact, he remembers that she was wearing the shirt from Mexico on the day that she disappeared. It was clear to me that Ken wanted to develop a life with Kim, and unfortunately, it was abruptly and sadly taken away from him.
Hello? I'm one of the detectives investigating the Kimberly Langwell's disappearance back in 1999. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember it very well. She was one of my closest friends.
If we're going to figure out what happened to Kim, we need to learn everything we can about the intimate details of her relationships with all the men in her life. And who better is there to talk to about that than Kim's closest girlfriends?
And tell me about what she confided in you about the people that she went out with.
Lots of concerns about the boyfriend that she had that owned the record service. I didn't like him.
Okay.
I didn't want her anywhere near him. Okay. Terry was always hounding her. I mean, he would not let go. There'd be many times we'd be together and Terry would call her.
Right.
I could hear him asking, where are you at? When are you going to be home? What are you doing? How much longer till you're going to be home?
That's great.
I know that he intimidated her a lot.
Her office was right across the hall with mine. And we'd go out sometimes, go out for lunch.
Did she have a lot of boyfriends? Were people coming in and out of her?
No. Men liked her. You've seen her pictures.
I have, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She was very friendly. She was fun to be around. At the time, she was dating Ken Weatherford. There was even something going around that she was engaged to Ken. She wore some kind of ring.
Did she wear it like on her left hand? Like it was, okay. Do you remember if she was wearing it on July 9th by any chance?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay.
We heard that Kim was wearing her Mexico shirt on the day she went missing. And now we're thinking she may have been wearing a faux engagement ring. Is it possible she went to Terry's and inadvertently flaunted her new relationship?
My only other concern, and we did have an engineer that she worked for, kind of on the strange side.
Frank McCormick? What was strange about him? What do you remember about him?
He was kind of obsessed with her. But he was supposed to be a happily married man.
Did Frank ever write her letters or send her letters or anything like that? You ever seen any of them, or how did you know about them?
He showed me. As far as I was concerned, it was creepy.
Okay.
Was this after she disappeared or before?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't
Everything
know any
was
of this.
after?
No, I didn't know any of this before
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah.
Until he pulled me in the office and wanted to talk to me about this, because he felt like he was protecting his back, I guess. I don't know. You know, come on.
Yeah.
You're my boss. Do you really want to talk to me about this?
It's odd that Frank would show off these letters. Maybe it was that he was trying to get ahead of this investigation. Or maybe he simply felt bad about his crush. Whatever the reason, we're going to need to analyze them. Women that have got that personality and just that way about them that attract a lot of attention, it does make it tougher because then you have all these complications.
Yeah.
In anticipation of y'all's interview with Frank McCormick, let's talk about his letters, because we haven't done that yet. Kimberly Langwell disappeared in 1999. But before that happened, she gave a stack of love letters that she had received from our suspect, Frank McCormick, to one of her girlfriends for safekeeping. These are the letters from the stalker. It's time that we hear about Frank's obsession with Kim in his own words. What's your favorite part?
Yeah, the European vacation bribe, where he said, I can set aside $3,500 for you and Tiffany to take a trip to Europe this summer. He says there's no requirements to see me, no hugs, no kisses. I just want to see your smile.
I have a file on my desk that must have over 100 pages I've written to you about how I feel.
Well, I made the mistake of telling you that I loved you. Your response will be forever burned into my brain. You don't love me. You don't want to love me.
When I said I loved you, I was sincere. You stirred some feelings inside me that I have never felt with such power before. I need you to save me from the state I am in. Allow me to regain my sanity in my life. I would quit driving by your house 20 to 30 times a week.
That's a hardcore stalker.
Does he know you had these letters?
I don't know.
I think if he did, he wouldn't be showing up today.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in seeing what Kim's boss, Frank, has to say about these letters. Frank had somewhat of an alibi that night. He gave the police a receipt that showed him at a grocery store at 6:56 p.m. And then later he hosted a poker game, but he was clearly obsessed with Kim. Based on my experience, feelings like that can often lead to violence.
Frank?
Yes, I'm Frank.
Detective Wilson.
I need it.
Nice to meet you. Well, appreciate you coming in today. You just got off work.
Yeah.
You can just kind of go into how you knew Kimberly, kind of y'all's relationship and stuff like that.
She was my administrative assistant.
And how was your relationship with her? Did y'all chat a lot or?
I'd say a fair amount. Hit the floor in her house.
I know, kind of in your original statement, you had said that you had like a little crush on Kimberly and stuff.
Yeah, maybe a little. She was a sweet girl. You know, she was very attractive.
Did she ever flirt with you at work and stuff like that, or
Yeah,
did you think she was interested?
might have been, but it would have upset too much of my life.
So it was just kind of a crush from afar, I guess. Maybe just a physical attraction type thing, or...
Yeah.
What about some of the letters that you had written Kim and stuff over the years?
I think there was one about the French ticket thing. That's pretty stupid of me, probably, but I flew to France all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her she wanted to take Tiffany. I had enough frequent flyer miles, I'd get her a ticket.
Look, and we know there was a lot of letters. We have some of them. We've read through some of them, and so we know kind of the feelings you were expressing towards her and stuff like that. So we know there's more than just the one about the European vacation. So, I mean, it's kind of out in the open.
No, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember any more than that.
You don't recall?
Frank is noticeably uncomfortable. It's hard to know if he's uncomfortable because he's been confronted with these very inappropriate letters, or if there's something more sinister at play here.
You can even tell from the letters that she's not really receptive of, I guess, what you're feeling towards her. Did you think that y'all were gonna maybe be together one day?
No, it was just an emotion.
Yeah. I mean, you admit to driving in front of her house 30 times a week. You don't remember going by her house?
I went over there several times to do stuff.
But you don't remember just driving by, just unannounced or uninvited, or...
I'll be honest, I don't.
What we're trying to determine.
Are you the type of person that when the advances and the desires that you had were not met, did you walk away, or do you do something else out of anger, rage, jealousy? All the things that we know in murder cases lead people to make mistakes when they experience those emotions.
Would you ever harm Kim?
No.
Did you harm Kim?
No.
Do you know where Kim is at today?
No.
Did you kill Kim?
No.
I have to ask you these questions.
No.
And do you remember where you went that day after work, or what you did that evening of July 9th?
I believe my wife had called me and asked me to stop off at the grocery store on the way home. And I found the receipt at the grocery store, which was time-stamped.
You remember anything about a poker game?
Maybe. Is that what I said last time?
Yeah. That's why you had stopped at the store to get some chips and stuff.
Okay, that makes sense.
Alrighty, sir. Well, we'll walk you out to your vehicle and get you home.
He had a documented crush on our victim. We gave him the opportunity to talk about it. I think his emotional response was odd, but there was nothing that came from the interview that led me to believe that he had any part in her disappearance. But we still have a lot more work to do. And next up is examining how Kim's car ended up abandoned in that parking lot.
Let's go to Terry's house first, and then that way we can get a pretty good read on how far it would have taken to get to that Eckerd's parking lot.
Let's go check it out. The details of Kimberly's disappearance are still unclear, but we do know that her car ended up in that Eckerd's parking lot. If we can connect her abductor to the location of her car, that can maybe help us solve the case. So what we need to do is retrace Kim's steps that night, starting with the place we know that she was last seen alive at Terry Rose's house. This is the house right here.
Yes, Terry Rose's house. This was where Terry's record yard was.
So when those guys left that day, the other record drivers, it's real easy to see what's going on with the car situation.
Oh, yeah, they would probably have been pulling out and saw Kim's car.
An employee of Terry's record service told police he saw Kim's car parked at the property at about 5:50 p.m. And by 6:20 p.m., the car was gone. And all of this lines up with Terry's story. If he did something, he would have to do it without them seeing. Which, even though it's very close, it's certainly doable. If Terry killed Kim in his home, he would need to get rid of that car quickly to avoid suspicion. As an experienced record driver, Terry would have access to a tow truck, the skills to hook up a car quickly, and transport it inconspicuously the short distance to the Eckerd's shopping center parking lot.
So she's in this spot right here.
Right.
So what are the reasons why Kim's car could have been here legitimately?
If she were shopping at Eckerd,
But we know that she had spoken to her daughter, and she never indicated that she needed to make any other stops before coming home, except for Terry's house.
And all the cameras around her were checked and nothing turned up.
Right. The Eckerd's video system was checked, and they never recognized Kim coming in and out of the store. So we know she never made it into Eckerd's. Kim had no reason to be here.
If we're considering the possibility that Kim was abducted by a stranger, there are some things that don't add up. We don't have any evidence that she ever actually went inside the Eckerd's. She did not tell anybody she was making a stop. And when you look at the map closely, this is not even on her normal ride home. Putting all that together, we can eliminate the theory that Kim drove herself here and was abducted by an unknown stranger. Which leads us back to the theory that Terry transported her car here with his wrecker. If you're a wrecker driver and you're pulling Kim's car, does he get out, or is it that kind where you don't even have to get out?
I think it's the kind you don't have to get out, that he just
Really?
drops it.
Your one witness is deceased now says she saw Terry here.
Right.
Back in 1999, there was a witness who came forward who claimed that she saw Terry's wrecker in the parking lot around 6:45 p.m. Unfortunately, that witness has now passed away, which makes that statement inadmissible. But this witness put Terry in the parking lot around the time we believe Kim went missing.
And he had several hours, anytime between 6 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. of him at the pool hall.
Terry really didn't have an alibi that the police could verify. He said he was home alone until about 9:30 p.m., and then he went to a local pool hall, the Corner Pocket.
And Corner Pocket was where back then?
It's around the corner.
What are the odds, right?
Terry decides to play pool on the night of Kim's disappearance. And of all places, he ends up in the same shopping center parking lot as where Kim's abandoned car is found. I just don't believe it. If Terry did move her car there, it gives him a perfect opportunity to keep an eye on the car for when the police find it. If Terry's not the one responsible for this, that's one hell of a coincidence. So what are the chances that his former girlfriend's car ends up here that night he ends up here? All on the same night? No way.
Wow. While we're connecting the dots pretty well that Terry did have the opportunity to kill Kim, we still want to learn more about a potential motive.
Ingrid? Good morning. How you doing?
Kim was close to her childhood friend Ingrid Dunn and to her mom Esther. She actually lived with them for a time when she was in high school. We're hoping that she opened up to them about how Terry acted after they broke up.
The Terry situation, yeah, I knew about that. He seemed to be a very nice guy, but then as time went on, he just started getting kind of crazy, possessive. It was just kind of a toxic type relationship. You know, she finally had enough, and she knew it was time to go. So she kind of started moving forward with her life. She seemed happy, but she was dating someone else, and it got serious. But Terry was still kind of like, you know, calling her all the time, badgering her, wanting to get her back. Baby, I love you. Will you see me? Can I come talk to you? And she could say, he's still following me around. He's still, like, threatening me.
What do you think Kim was thinking as far as her relationship with Terry in those last couple of months?
Keep it calm and friendly. Things will calm down and he will go away. She was running from somebody that wouldn't leave her alone. I just can't even imagine the fear that was going on in her mind when all that was going on.
I've seen this so many times where you have a woman is with an obsessive, possessive, jealous man and tries to keep him happy by going along, by pacifying him, by agreeing to whatever he wants, thinking that it'll all just go away. And it never happens. They don't go away. It keeps on, it gets worse, and it ends terribly.
Kimberly, in a sense, would have been like a daughter to you.
Absolutely. She was a wonderful person. She was funny. She was happy. She was crazy, stupid. She was just my girl. I loved her. She ended up meeting Terry, and as time went along, it was controlling. It was just constantly possessive. And when she would try to leave, and she tried to leave several times, it was like against the door, can't go, here we go. He told her all the time, if you ever leave me for anybody else, I'll kill you.
Where'd you hear that from?
Yeah, I heard that from Kim.
Okay.
One day she told me, she said, the night before he'd tried to strangle her, and she said, Mimi, I thought I was going to die. And she couldn't have fought her way out of it. He just decided to let go. She said, I blacked out and I came back. She was scared to death.
Esther is recounting a story right out of the mouth of Kim, where Kim is in fear for her life as Terry is strangling her.
pushed her down on the bed, and he continued to strangle her.
If Terry killed Kim, this might be our best clue as to how he did it, and possibly explain why there was no blood found in Terry's house when the police department searched it after Kim disappeared.
She called me and she said, I'm going to Terry's. I said, Kimberly, do not go to Terry's.
Is this that last time?
Mm-hmm. And she said, he called me and told me there was jewelry there and that come by pick it up. And that's when I said, please don't go. Whatever it is, I'll buy it for her, replace it. And no, he said, it's okay. He hadn't done anything in a few months. I said, Kim, he's going to hurt you. He's going to hurt you.
As far as she knows, Terry doesn't know yet about Ken.
I think he knew.
You do? Okay.
They just gone to Cancun and come back.
What do you think Terry would do if he found out about a new man that's this serious?
He's not going to let her go.
Esther is shedding a whole new light on Kim's final visit to Terry's house. We've already learned that Terry found out about her Mexico trip with Ken. She's wearing the t-shirt, possibly an engagement ring, and now we're hearing that she's collecting her belongings. It sounds like the perfect storm, signaling to Terry that Kim might have moved on, and that may have pushed him over the edge.
It's okay.
I just felt like it wrecked my life. I want her back.
So if I'm going to talk to a crook, like a real crook, I always wear a white shirt. I'm a believer in it. Yeah. I have anecdotal evidence that proves if I wear a white shirt, I do better than a colored shirt. Yep.
Never heard of that, but I like it.
Think Terry Rose is going to talk?
I think he will. Because he's got one of those, I want to have the last say on everything.
I hope so. We're going to go talk to our suspect, Kim's ex-boyfriend, Terry Rose. He hasn't really talked to law enforcement in over 20 years. I don't hold out a lot of hope that he's going to talk a whole lot today, but we are hoping that maybe we can get some little inconsistencies in him that might help to strengthen the case.
Hello, anybody home?
We know you're in there. We just want to talk for a minute. We're not going away, so you might come to the door.
Want to walk this around to the side?
Yeah.
I bet that's it.
Hey, Terry, can we talk to you for a minute?
Terry's trying to leave through a gate on the other end of the property. Maybe he's trying to dodge us, but we're going to cut him off.
Right?
Hi, are you Terry? Any chance we could talk to you for a minute?
Thank you.
I think he's going to pull back, yeah?
Yeah.
He's going to talk.
I'm Heather Wilson. I work for Beaumont PD.
My name's Abby. I'm a retired homicide detective from Houston. And I got to be honest with you, I feel like you're trying to dodge us, sir.
Yep.
You didn't hear us knock on the door before?
I just walked down and walked back.
I saw you in the yard. I called to you. I feel like you didn't want to hear what I had to say, and then you were driving away.
I don't even know who you are.
I just told you my name. Yes, sir.
What do you mean?
You had a ex-girlfriend that went missing?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your theory on what happened to her? What do you think?
I don't really know.
She came to your house, and then she left on that day. And
Yeah, that's so.
when she left your house, was she upset? Was she happy?
No.
Did y'all get in any
No,
kind of
she
argument?
wasn't angry or nothing like that.
No. Were y'all still together?
We broke up. I think she was dating somebody from work or something. I don't.
Do you know that guy's name?
Once we broke it off, I figured just leave her alone.
Yeah. Do you remember why she even stopped by that day if y'all weren't still together?
I think there was some stuff that she still had here
Yeah.
and had in storage and whatnot.
Yeah.
Called me that day.
Mm-hmm. What happened to the boards? Terry initially told the police department that Kim came over that day to help him attach some boards. And now he's saying that Kim came over that day to get some things, which is what Kim told Esther. Did he forget his original story?
You helped her out a lot, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I did.
Did you give her $500 so she could go on a trip to Cozumel or wherever she went?
No.
All of that's BS.
I've never heard of that.
Never heard of that?
Yes, sir.
Right before she went missing.
About 2 weeks. Either Cancun or Cozumel.
And
But even now, 24 years later, you've never heard that? That she had went on vacation with another guy? Huh.
Terry's saying today that he knew nothing about Kim taking some trip to Mexico. But according to Kim's sister, Terry not only knew about that trip, he was upset about that trip because he's the one who gave Kim money to go to Mexico, he thought with some girlfriends, when she really went with another man. So what is this, just another memory lapse, I guess?
was there ever anything between you and her? You physical with her? Yeah?
No, I didn't do it.
Did you ever lay a hand on her?
No,
Ever threaten her?
no,
You don't strike me as the kind of guy that would threaten a woman.
no, because that's pussy.
Did you ever choke Kim?
No,
You ever put your hands around her neck?
no,
Never put hands on her.
nope.
Any man that would do that's a pussy. From Terry's own statement, we know that he admitted slapping Kim. The more he talks today, the more he makes the case stronger.
On that night that she went missing, you played pool in the same parking lot where her car was found.
That was over by my bank. That's like way on the other side of the
You swear to God, everything you told us is the truth.
Everything that I told you is true as far as I can remember.
We are not going to hold
You can listen to him talk, and it doesn't take you very long to realize that what we've been hearing all week about him sounds pretty accurate. He's not stupid. He's kind of a smartass. He's definitely defensive and cynical. And the way he portrays his relationship, he never laid a finger on Kim. He never threatened Kim. Their relationship was over in a normal way. It contradicts everything we've been hearing.
It was better than I thought.
It was the white shirt.
It's the white shirt.
It's the white
I'm telling
shirt.
How y'all doing today?
Good morning. We're good.
While we considered the possibility that an unknown suspect was responsible for the 1999 disappearance of Kimberly Langwell, we found no evidence to support that. So now it's time to determine the involvement of our two remaining suspects. Okay, Frank.
As suspicious as his actions were back then, driving by her house and the creepy love letters, I just don't see the motive there to ever want to harm or do anything to Kim.
Okay.
I think he was just looking for somebody to pay him attention. But during the interview, I didn't see any deception as to he was a killer or anything like that.
Do you know where Kim is at today?
No.
Did you kill Kim?
No.
And look how cooperative he was with y'all, today and back then, at all the risk he faced of being pretty embarrassed, professionally and with his wife. We didn't find any evidence that connects Frank to Kim or to her car. And the receipts that he provided show us that he was buying snacks around the time that Kim was abducted for a poker party that he later hosted. And those witnesses also corroborate what Frank was doing that night. While he might have been downplaying his obsession with Kim, that's probably because he was a married man and he's embarrassed about that, way more than it has anything to do with his involvement in a murder. So, is everybody good with clearing Frank McCormick off the suspect board?
Yes.
Unanimous, all right. We can eliminate Frank once and for all. Okay, so all the Terry points, laying it out to your prosecutor. Start with your story, Kim, and the relationship between her and Terry. And what are you going to say?
Terry's just not trusting her or wanting to know who she was with.
Terry would call her. I could hear him asking, where are you at? When are you going to be home? What are you doing?
Driving by her house, checking in on her, wanting to know what time she left work.
He keeps trying to call me. He's still following me around. He's still like threatening me.
So then you're getting into the abuse, how volatile it was.
When we talked to Esther, she described to me how he would choke her, and that he choked her one time to the point that she passed out.
He tried to strangle her, and she said, Amy, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah,
Now he's saying, I've never laid a finger on Kim.
Did you ever lay a hand on her?
No,
You ever put your hands around her neck?
no.
So he has the greatest motive of anybody that exists. But he also has something that, to me, is really important. He has the trigger. She just got back from Mexico.
Yeah. And for him to deny that he even knew she went on a trip, it's like, come on, guy.
Did you give her $500 so she could go on a trip to Cozumel or wherever she went?
No.
You've never heard that? That she had went on vacation with another guy?
Susan says that Terry told her, now you know what it feels like, the way I do.
And he said that, how do you think I felt when I found out that I gave her $500 and she went with another man to Mexico instead of girls from work?
Imagine the anger of when she's trying to break up with him. He's finding out about the trip. She's wearing a ring that another man gave her. Kim even told people that he had said, if she ever leaves me, I'm killing her.
He told her all the time, if you ever leave me for anybody else, I'll kill you.
Her car that's last seen at his house goes from his home to the parking lot where the vehicle is found. And he's there at the same time. You can't get past that.
So then, all this, at the end of your meeting with your prosecutor or prosecutors today, your hope is to ask them to do what, Lieutenant?
I would ask that they present the case to the grand jury for an indictment on Terry Rose. I believe it's a strong case. I believe it's a winnable case.
I feel very optimistic.
I feel pretty good about it.
That's good.
Yeah, it
That's
is
good. You know, my husband, when I talk to him and my girls, whenever I'm working, they'll go, how's the case going? And I'm always really good about staying realistic. But this week I said, it's going really great. The team here presented everything that we've learned to the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. Hey, how are y'all?
Good to see you again.
And we want to update Kimberly's daughter and sister on her case.
We've talked to a lot of people this week, and from everybody that we've talked to, it painted a real clear picture that Terry's the person with the means and the motive to do it, and that's kind of ultimately what it all keeps coming back to.
So we met with the DA's office yesterday. They gave us the impression that they were going to push for the case to move forward.
That's great news. It feels good to hear y'all say that. I mean, this is the first time in 24 years that somebody's looked at me and said, hey, we think that Terry's responsible. So that alone is a big step. For somebody else from the outside to look at the case and say, hey, all the evidence leads to him, it makes you feel good. It doesn't change what's happened over the last 24 years. It doesn't bring her back. It doesn't give us any more time with her. But I'm happy. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm glad that some people stepped up and wanted to be there for my mom.
And the case got stronger and better. And these guys have your back. They're great.
Thank you.
Give us a hug. You got some good people on your side.
Thank you.
Tiffany has dealt with so much heartache and uncertainty for the last 24 years. Today we can finally give her some answers and tell her what we all think happened, and maybe finally get her closer to getting justice for her mom.
If I was okay. I nodded. He didn't believe me, but he didn't care enough to ask again. I sorted envelopes mechanically. My hands moved, but my mind stayed somewhere else. When I came across an envelope addressed to Havana, not mine, something in me convulsed. I stared at it too long. The name, the street, the city. Real. Somebody real. Going to someone real. I felt envy. Ugly, corrosive envy. Because that envelope had a destination. A place where someone waited. Mine didn't. Mine never would. I placed the envelope back onto the line. My hands shook. I knew then that I had to stop writing, stop sending, stop pretending. But addiction doesn't dissolve just because clarity arrives. Clarity is the beginning of the fight, not the end. And I had no strength left to fight. That night, I sat at the table again, stared at the stack of returned envelopes. I slid one open, then another, then another. Reading my own words became torture, a parade of illusions, a shrine to my own denial. Each letter felt heavier than the last, as if soaked in the weight of my own delusion. And then, in the middle of the pile, I found one that wasn't like the others, one I had forgotten about, one I didn't recognize. The handwriting was mine, but calmer, older, almost gentle. I opened it carefully. Inside, you cannot return to a place you left whole, because you are not whole anymore, but you can return to the truth. No signature, no date. I didn't remember writing it. Did I? Or was it something I needed to hear, badly enough that I created it unconsciously? The words carved into me. Return to the truth. I didn't know what truth meant anymore. Was it the truth of departure? The truth of exile? The truth of failure? The truth of longing? But one truth was undeniable. The letters were no longer helping me remember. They were making me disappear. The collapse peaked the next morning. I woke up surrounded by envelopes, scattered on the floor like fallen feathers. My chest felt tight, my limbs heavy, my throat dry. I tried to stand, dizzy. I leaned on the wall, felt the plaster crumble beneath my hand. Every surface in the apartment looked foreign, like I'd never seen it before, as if someone had rearranged my life while I slept. And then, the final blow. I reached for the pen on the table, my favorite one, the ink dark one, and snapped it. Just like that, between two fingers. Ink spilled, blue-black, across my palm, across the table, onto the letters. The stain spread like a bruise, and something inside me broke. Quietly, completely. I slid down to the floor, back against the wall, legs pulled to my chest. For the first time since I left Cuba, I felt the full weight of being nowhere. Not in Miami, not in Havana, not in the letters, not in myself. I whispered into the empty room, "What have I done to myself?" No answer, just the hum of the AC, the sound of a city outside that did not know or care that I was falling apart. I stayed there until the light changed, until the sun rose, until exhaustion overtook fear. The collapse was complete. What remained was silence, a silence so deep it felt like drowning. But drowning is not death. It is the moment before you surface, if you choose to surface. And that choice, that confession, belongs to the next act. Collapse leaves you hollow, but confession? Confession asks you to enter the hollow space with a light in your hand. In the days after the breakdown, I moved through my apartment as if it were a crime scene. The letters lay scattered across the floor, dozens of them, each one a fragment of a life I had invented, a life I had mourned, a life I could no longer pretend belonged to me. For a while, I couldn't bring myself to touch them. I would step over the envelopes on the way to the kitchen, as if they were sleeping animals I did not want to wake. I'd sit on the couch, staring at blank walls, feeling the ghost of every memory I had manipulated whispering behind me. And then the silence, the awful, intimate silence, began to soften. It didn't disappear. It changed color. The silence no longer said, "Write, escape, create another life." The silence now said, "Look, face yourself. No more shadows." One night, unable to sleep, I gathered every envelope into a pile on the living room rug. The paper crackled softly. My hands felt steady for the first time in weeks. I didn't read them. Not yet. Instead, I sat cross-legged before the pile, like someone visiting a grave they had avoided too long. The room was dim. Only the streetlight leaking through the blinds lit my hands. A strange calm washed over me, the kind that comes not from peace,